Hello, my name's Stephanie and I'm currently working with e-Qualitas as a mentor. So I'm the head of chemistry at an all-boys grammar school, although it does have girls in sixth form as well. So that's the kind of environment that my trainee's working in. And we meet every week or so to talk about how he's getting on. Sometimes it's more frequently and sometimes it's less frequently than that. So as a mentor, I'm really the first port of call for my trainee. So there's some admin things that I need to have in place to make sure that he is able to succeed at work. So the sort of most straightforward one, I suppose, is he has to have a timetable and it has to fit in with other staff members, because for me, my trainee is supernumerary. So he works with established teachers, and I've tried to carefully use the teachers within the department so that he gets access to lots of different experience levels and different teaching styles, so he can learn hopefully as much as possible from lots of different individuals. So once the timetable's set up and he knows where he needs to be and what he needs to be doing, he'll then work with those individual teachers. They'll decide when he's teaching the lessons and when perhaps they would like to teach a lesson, maybe to point out something to him in his teaching, or especially at the beginning he might not be ready to teach whole lessons. So it might be the case of observing a few to start with and then team teaching for a little while. But eventually he will start teaching all of the lessons in his timetable for those teachers. In addition to that, I'll get content from e-Qualitas every week where there'll be things that we need to discuss together, and it will be subject-focused discussions sometimes. So the science sort of part of it is quite strong. So there'll be questions about how can you, for example, make sure students are thinking about the science that they're going to be putting into action when they're doing a practical, so they're not just thinking about the equipment that they use and what they're going to be doing. So the content that we get from e-Qualitas to discuss is actually really helpful and often picks up on some of the things that I might have noticed when I was observing. So I've got those weekly meetings and discussions. I tend to do a weekly lesson observation of the trainee so that we can feed that into our discussion as well. Although that doesn't need to be done by the mentor specifically, that could be done by any member of staff within the department. As long as the trainee gets someone observing him every week, then that's fine. There are half-termly reports, so there we'd look at the scope of what the trainees learn over the whole half-term and really think about areas of progress and perhaps some areas where a bit more improvement needs to be made. It allows you to talk about things with the trainee where there's a focus that's coming from somewhere external. So it can be quite difficult at times to approach things that a trainee might find challenging, and you're aware that you might be hitting their confidence when you talk about certain aspects of their teaching. So to have a external company saying, right, these are the questions for this week, takes away the personal aspect of it a bit, which makes it much easier to talk about. But also does give you a routine, I suppose, throughout the year to make sure you touch on important points at relevant points throughout the year for your trainee to actually think about those things. So that's been very helpful.